Hello there. We are very fortunate today to have my husband and favorite cameraman joining us, Demon. And we together are going to do the idealized self-decks hashtag in response to the somatic sorceress. So this morning I've watched the highly sensitive tarot's response to this hashtag, and I've watched Mama T's response to this hashtag, and of course the somatic sorceress's response to this hashtag. And Demon didn't see the other two, but did listen to this original one from the somatic sorceress, and he and I had a pretty interesting discussion about what is the idealized self, didn't we, Demon?
Mm-hmm.
So just so happens I'm not in the forest right now, which is where I usually am, but I am in my husband's house in the city, where he still lives, and I didn't bring any tarot decks with me. He has a couple. So this is going to be an interesting hashtag for he and I to do together, because I was going to teach Demon how to read cards, but he has a real intuitive knack for it. So I don't mess with that too much. If anything, I'm kind of interrogate him. So this is kind of a good one for that, because aspirational self. So yeah, we had a very interesting conversation about what does that actually mean. And I kind of feel as if, first of all, I would like to say to Mama T and the somatic sorceress and anybody else, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm sure no authority on coolness, but in my books, anybody who reads tarot cards or wants tarot cards read is at a adequate level of coolness to satisfy me at any rate. And I think that what I contended to Demon was that in order to read tarot cards, one has to sort of assume an aspirational self, in that it's not an everyday thing. Kind of is. I've been reading cards for a very, very long time, so I could say that any kind of Rider-Waite deck is integral. I very often think of things in terms of Rider-Waite's symbolism, something be a real Three of Hearts situation, something, it could be a real Tower moment, That's how I think. But I have to say that I've only been collecting decks for going on about a year. It was about a year ago, almost now, that I discovered, pretty much by accident, TarotTube. I had no idea that I would occasionally come across Simon's videos. I watch a lot of things to do with esoterica on YouTube, to do with Kabbalah and the history of magic and those sorts of things, witchcraft, all that. But I didn't really, as I said, I guess my integral self is a tarot card reader. I'm a tarot card reader the way my eyes are blue. I just am. And I have been for such a long time that it's not something I give a whole lot of conscious thought to. It's just there. But upon discovering TarotTube and the fabulous wealth of beautiful, beautiful decks, that didn't exist when I first started reading cards at all. So the past year has been an absolute intoxication of collecting decks that speak to me. And I've heard people talking about being influenced by people. Sure, that's I've done that too, but not so much. The deck, a deck really has to speak to me. Otherwise, I've seen lots and lots of very beautiful decks that I just don't want, because they and another thing about the intoxication of amassing decks. I don't know if I'm going to be a deck collector or not. Like by TarotTube standards, I have a large assortment perhaps rather than a collection, and I have been buying decks very much orchestrating practices because I have a very established tarot practice. And one new thing that really, really, in one of the comments on the Somatic Sorceress, somebody talked about inspiration rather than aspiration. And perhaps those two things are kind of connected in that I never had very many tarot decks. I had Deviant Moon, I would say, is an integral deck for me. It's my most read deck. It's the only tarot deck I had for decades. And before that, I had the Aquarian tarot deck, which I had until it literally wore out. And then I bought Deviant Moon, which as soon as I saw Deviant, I didn't realize when I first saw pictures of the Deviant Moon tarot deck that it was a tarot deck. But as soon as I did, it was like, well, I had to have that deck. And it is my best friend deck. But I have also consciously bought several aspirational decks that are going to take some real work. I love to study. And I have a wonderful, wonderful memory. And now, I'm getting to be an old lady, and it's pretty important to me that I maintain that wonderful memory. And learning new card systems, I think, is a fabulous way to keep my memory very sharp. And I really, really enjoy it too. And I really, really like decks that do deviate from the Rider-Waite-Smith, because I just know that one so well that any kind of variation I love. Not so much tarot books. I did get Lon Milo Duquette's Tarot Architect because I really like Lon Milo Duquette. And also I thought it would just be fun to do the whole making the tarot deck and all of the... So I like study. I really, really love studying. I am an uncool person that way, in that, I study recreationally. Not demon. So that's one of the reasons I decided to stop teaching my husband tarot. I mean, if he's got any questions, or I love having conversations with him. Do you like having conversations about tarot, Demon?
Yeah. Well, love is...
You don't love it?
Not yet. I'm still...
What don't you
love?
I'm
just... It's... I don't know. It's a lot for me right now. That's all.
My husband is a conductor for a big railway, kind of like Ringo Starr and Shining Time Station, if any of you can remember that. But he's chronically sleep deprived. It's not, it's not Thomas the Tank Engine that he works on. But I don't know. I have a feeling that I think Demon, we were talking about inspirational selves. And the idea that of many selves, So we kind of, do you mind if I précis our conversation?
Sure.
We sort of agreed that there are many different aspects to self that you may or may not be conscious of. Would you say that's true, Demon?
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of thought, I was saying, well, how do you feel when you read cards? Because he reads them brilliantly, very intuitively. And he had 2 decks. I got him 2 decks because I'm an old school kind of tarot card person. That fortune telling stuff any magical stuff has to be a gift. So I got him the El Santo Tarot, and I got him a very interesting indie deck called the Everlasting Day, which is supposedly an expansion of the Golden Dawn system. But it just comes with very simple keywords, that one. The Everlasting Day Tarot is the one that Demon prefers because of the very simple keywords, whereas I much prefer the El Santo Tarot, which is exhaustively informative. So even though as soon as this became apparent that teaching Demon cards from a guidebook, because I love big fat guidebooks. I want, there's never too much information as an alien concept to me. I can take any very simple thing and make it extremely complicated and delight in doing so. Uh-oh. You good?
Yep.
But not Demon. So I'm not going to tamper with that, and instead I mine him for information about. So tell them what you told me about what goes on when you read cards.
Well, I guess I just try to be as open as I can, because I don't really think about the cards. I think about, I don't necessarily have a, I know roughly what the cards mean, but I don't really have, other than that, I don't really go into it with anything other than that.
Just that openness.
Just that openness.
And I would agree. I think that I initially thought, well, reading cards requires you to become an idealized self, because you have to believe in the magic. I believe the cards are magic. I believe the cards are the voice. Ideally, when I have read cards professionally with great success. Much more success when I read cards for people I don't know than when I read cards for people I do know. And this is what has brought about the idea that, well, the cards are the voice, ideally. You just become sort of a magical, open conduit for the cards to say what they're going to say. And in reading for strangers, that's very effective. I can do it with people I know as well, but it's a little harder because my own thoughts and feelings about people kind of creep in, and if I'm not careful, I might not be as good a conduit for the voice of the cards as I could be. But the fact remains that I think that in order to read cards at all or do any kind of magical practice, you have to believe in magic, obviously. And not just believe, but know that that's how it is. And the tarot cards, forgive my dogs, they're a little bit. All right, that's enough. Come on. Good girl. Come here, Nadia.
There's somebody at the door.
So we're going to get...
There's somebody at the door.
There's somebody at... Oh,